Coming up on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, chemistry apps. Hi, I'm Zoe Falls, and today on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, we're going to look at the periodic table. Now, the Royal Society of Chemistry has developed a really fabulous interactive periodic table that you can access from a computer, and then they also have a mobile version of it so you can put it on iPads or on your smartphone, so when you're on the go, you have access to it. So when you first go to the page, it just gives you the table and it's color-coded based on the type. And then it has a really great hover over feature. So if we go to hydrogen and you hover over it, it tells you some quick facts about it. And then if you click on it, it's going to give you more information on that specific element. So it gives you the same information you saw in the hover over, and then it just expands that information. So fact boxes, melting points, boiling points, densities, and then uses and properties. So again, if you have a student that, they're learning chemistry, it's their intro to chemistry class, it's kind of a one-stop shop for information they need. I think it would be a great way for them to be able to review the material. It's color-coded, they get to interact with it. They could do it in pairs or table groups and quiz each other. Then it goes through and it gives you history about it, atomic data, a whole bunch of other stuff that I think I personally would have to know more about chemistry to really appreciate. But one of the things I like about it is this resource area. So the resources extends beyond just sort of facts and figures about hydrogen. It talks about engaging students in the chemistry of tattoos. What a way to get students that maybe are like, but chemistry and the periodic are scary. Remember when I took chemistry, I was really excited that my TI-89, I could upload an app. And this is old school, uploading an app that had the periodic table on it. And it was sort of interactive, but it gave like 5 things about it. And they were never the 5 things that were on the test. But I felt better about having it. But here, the students are able to get some different perspectives and get some more real world, like why do I need to know about hydrogen? Well, tattooing. And even if they're not explicitly interested in tattooing itself, right, it's kind of a different funky way to get them thinking about chemistry. And so again, they can go through and they can read the little article about it. And it talks about how hydrogen has, interacts with tattooing. And then, so again, different sorts of resources for them. And again, as a teacher, you could kind of pre-sort through and maybe have the students look at specific ones and then choose one on their own. So if there was something more specific that you needed them to look at, you could assign 2 and then give them the option of, hey, find one. So there are some podcasts, so they can listen to some stuff, and then videos. So again, really a great opportunity for them to have some multimodal experiences with the different elements. So when we go back to our periodic table, it does this for all of the elements, which I think is really great. And there are some sorting features. So you can have it just select the ones that are metal. So only metals within the periodic table are now colored. And then you can do non-metals, right? So we have some of our gases and other things. And then if you're really, when they're learning the table, right, and they need to learn the different periods, you can sort by specific period. Which, again, things that I wish I would have had in chemistry when I was learning it, because it's colorful, it's interactive, they're able to visually see the differences. They're not having to put their hands over it and cover it up and hope that they're getting it right. And then again, the different groups. And the other cool thing is here in the middle, it gives you a description of the group. Group 1 includes hydrogen and alkali metals. And then it'll do the blocks. The S block includes the alkali metals and the alkali earth metals. So again, the students are getting this snapshot view of kind of relevant information, and also like how to read the periodic table. It's one thing to remember hydrogen is 1, helium is 2, but to be able to appropriately be able to utilize the information within the periodic table can be a really great asset to your students. And then it also talks about supply risks. So when you hover over, you can talk about the rarity of an element. And it talks about high supply risk, low supply risk, or unknown. Like when we go over to hydrogen, it's unknown. And the other thing that I like about this is you could just have the students kind of go through and explore on their own for a little bit. You could do sort of a pre-lesson where you give them the website and you give them some time and just say, hey, go figure out some stuff. Maybe you have them figure out, what can you tell me about the periodic table based on your observations? And then you can go through and reinforce that content by, more explicitly pointing out the different groups, the different periods. You can also sort it by temperature. And again, the other cool feature is this is the type of tool that can be useful at various levels of chemistry need. Like what they're learning in elementary school, it's probably a much lower level than some of the resources and applications that they'll need as they move on. Even in college, you could have this be a really great resource for your students to have because it's free, right? Like what student doesn't love free things? So one of the other things in resources that I wanted to mention when it loads is that depending on the institution, so the district, the university, the resources can vary. So one of the things I noticed is that with the resources, because I'm hooked in through the university is part of a larger system. This is one of the things we get access through the library, so our resources can vary from institution to institution. So there are resources, but what you might have access to can vary depending on what sorts of access your district has, your school has, etc. But the basic interactive parts, the information, all of that stuff remains constant, but sometimes the resources can vary from where you are. So again, just kind of a fun little interactive app that I think can have really great uses for students and for teachers. So this has been Mobile Learning in the Classroom and the Periodic Table of Elements. See ya.